Yeah, I mean, there's different stages and different things. And just before I do that, sorry about that, guys. We were streaming. I had the stream set to YouTube instead of Facebook, so it was streaming on YouTube instead of Facebook. So I just switched it over. So if you guys are just tuning in, for you all that are just tuning in, sorry about that. We've been live, but on the wrong social media platform. So we've been discussing cheating when it comes to at different cheating and why people cheat, but at different stages, right? Dating, committed, marriage, things like that, or long term committed and not married, stuff like that. So this is
Yeah,
what we're discussing right now. So
because
yeah, you repeat your last question for those that are just tuning members.
yeah, is there a lesson to be learned when you're cheated on?
So yeah, my opinion is definitely right. I have a lot. We could go down the laundry list of reasons why people cheat, but there's too many to name, right?
Yeah,
But there usually are some well, let's say there's usually a top five that people say, right? Like a
yeah,
person's not getting enough attention. Um,
one,
there might be financial issues.
yeah,
There may be
benefits,
sexual, yeah,
yeah,
intimacy. I won't be sexual, but intimacy in general issues going on. Um,
time,
Time, yeah, the person you may not be around, so the person's lonely, and now they've found somebody that gives them that attention they need or they
mhm,
want.
there
Um,
you go.
and then, so I mean, those are usually the main ones, right?
And then
Yeah,
there's also
there's lots of others.
I was going to make it kind of broad as emotional, not emotional attachment. What was I going to say? Being able to relate to them emotionally, meaning stuff like they had family issues, they had career issues, and all you're saying is, "I'm sorry to hear that." It's like you got to be able to be there emotionally and be able to feel their pain with them.
Empathy. That's the word you're looking for.
That
Empathy.
also, that also, yeah. And I see,
So
but
if you're not emotionally in the relationship, then let's say your significant other has a family member that dies, but you never met them, but maybe they're really close to them.
yeah,
And let's say you're not married, so maybe you haven't met them.
yeah,
Maybe you're committed, you've been dating maybe a year and a half, whatever.
yeah,
Um, so you haven't had a chance to meet them. But let's say you play it off and you you go hang out with your boys, or you say, hey, I have planned this thing with my friends, blah blah blah. Yet your
mm,
significant other needs you to be there in this in an emotional situation like that. You need to
mm-hmm.
drop what you're doing and be there,
There you go.
because I guarantee you, when you have life events like that, like what are some of those things? Weddings, funerals. I won't say birthdays, because birthday comes once a year, but I would say
Love ones.
sometimes people have those big birthdays like 40 or 21, stuff like that, and people want their loved ones and close ones around or whatever. But especially weddings and funerals, those are two big occasions celebrating, and births,
Yeah,
when people have kids, things like that or whatever. So sometimes when you're not there for those things, if it's not a good reason, like you're broke on the other side of the country,
mm,
people remember those, especially if you're in a relationship and somebody dies and you're like, oh, I planned this thing with my friends. That's hey, don't feel bad if another dude is at that funeral and gets
comes
that
on with her.
empathy lovemaking.
Yeah, and it's like you said, man. It's one thing when if the man is being the provider of the household and they're married like that, like this couple was, he's old. They were old school. He said they've been together for 46 years, man, and counting. So I'm like, all right, good look. That's older than I am. So it's like, all right, if he's the breadwinner, matter of fact, let's turn the table for a second. Let's say he's had a loved one pass away in his family. I mean, ladies, this is one thing a man does not like to hear is you're a man, get over it, or you're a man, or shake it off, or forget about it, or whatever. That's nothing a man needs to hear when he has death in the family, whether it's relative, close childhood friend, that means a lot to him, family, whatever. He don't need to hear, "Oh, you're a man, shake it off." I mean, that's one of the worst things you can say to him. Because I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, men have feelings too when people close to us pass away. It ain't got to be our parents or
Yeah,
our,
humans have feelings.
that's what I'm saying, man. But that's what I'm saying. Like, but men are the ones we always say. Hey, I mean, no, hey, Sam, come on now. No woman has ever said, "Hey, you're a grown woman, man. Stop crying." She ain't never told that, man. But a lot of men are. They're always told, "Hey, man, you're a grown
That's
man.
true.
Oh, man, you're a grown man. Be a man about it." I'm like, women don't hear that. when
Some
people
people, some people are raised that way. No,
out,
you're very right about
but
that. Now there's a quick video I wanted to share with, everybody has an opinion and thoughts, but I love to get females' thoughts and opinions on why men cheat, because there's a lot of reasons why people cheat in general. But I just wanted to play this quick, clip on why this particular person thinks women cheat. It's not every female, but it's. I mean, not every female may feel this way, but this is the way she feels. Let me share this with the group.
go ahead.
Let me start it over.
And that's a conversation.
Let me go back down and start this
Right.
over.
One in 4 marriages are sexless. One in 4. And so I just think if you're going to starve a man and he's begging you to sleep with him and someone comes on a platter, like, that's why I say we never talk about why the men cheat. And a lot of people will take this out of context, like I believe in cheating, but like there are times where the woman is not sleeping with the man and then he cheats, but he's not naturally inclined to. And that's a conversation we don't really have. I'm not saying it's okay, but it's almost like, what did you expect? But like,
so I thought that was interesting because they're talking about marriages. So they're talking about a specific scenario. They're talking about marriages, and then they're talking about sexless marriages when the man cheats. Or let's say the woman too, right? Let's flip it on both sides. Let's say it could be the man or the woman. Let's say the woman wants to have sex. The man is working all the time or doing whatever. He's doing this, doing that, running around, and he's like, "Oh, I'm tired," blah blah blah. And then it could be the reverse. Same thing for the woman. What do people expect when you are in that exact situation where you're in a marriage, you're in a marriage where you're committed to each other? You don't want to, like she said, the man necessarily is not inclined, meaning he doesn't necessarily want to cheat, but then he feels like, well, how else am I? I've had this conversation. We've had this conversation over and over, and it's not getting better. Some would say, well, you should get divorced or get separated or whatever. You shouldn't go out and do that. But what's your thoughts on that, though?
Yeah, and I mean, even with her saying that, I don't even know who she is, but she put up a good point where you may not be getting something that you're used to, which is okay. She put it sex, okay, and this is from who you're married to. All right, well, your spouse should know you well enough to know, okay, like fellas, you can't sit here and get mad when your wife's time of the month comes and she ain't giving you none. You cannot get, I mean, you may have been working your ass off like crazy, being the provider, protector, and peacemaker of the household, and all of a sudden you want to, you're in that mood where you're just, I don't know, if you're feeling like that, you just need something from her. It's like, hey, but the time of the month is here, man. You can't get mad at that. That's one thing. But
right.
Yeah, you can't. And it's like, hey, that's just called being patient. That's when it says for better or for worse. That's probably what it's talking about right there. That's probably what it's talking about. So when you get, if a man is, let's just say, if you're,
well, I mean, the better or for worse is stuff like a person gets sick or they gain weight or they're not the person that you marry physically.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst. You know what I'm saying?
And the idea is when this is your spouse, and let's say he don't from Buddy Love to Sherman Clump on your tail, ladies. That doesn't mean walk away. That doesn't mean go find some other man to get behind you or you at the gym and help you do some squats. That's not what that means. That means probably take him to the gym with you or start going to the gym with you. Start asking him to come go to the gym with you. If he's lazy or works so hard or does whatever, he don't want to go to the gym, find a way to work out in the house. Find a way to get out and do something with him that includes walking. Like you can go to the mall. I don't care what mall you go to. There's always some daggone mall walkers in there. And so it's like when your man or your spouse is sitting there and like Sam said, they're not the same person they were when you first met them and physically. All right, well, go and get them in shape. Try to get them in the shape you want them in. Just don't try to rush it. And then fellas also, when your lady has your first child, whatever the case is, and she's not the same, she got more junk in the hood than she got in the trunk now. It's like, all right, that doesn't mean go find somebody with all that junk in the trunk, man, to go play with. Hey, that's not what that means, man. Oh, because a lot of times that's what happens with some men. Is they're like, hey, man, he'll get tempted at a party or gathering or wherever, his job, and he'll start, messing around. But it's like cheating. What I learned from this couple was that there are signs when being cheated on. being cheated on is a lot, and I can understand what they were saying because this is the way I am. Sometimes it's a harsh, rude way of saying straighten up, or I'll find somebody to replace you. That's the sum it all up of what they were saying. Like,
you talking about the couple? You talking about the couple that you were talking to?
The couple I was talking to, because both of them kind of, when one spoke, hey, I had to straighten up, or hey, I learned my lesson, or hey, I had to be put on punishment. When they were saying that, neither part, the spouse was not disagreeing with the other, with his wife or her husband. They were not disagreeing when one of them said, listen, I just found, I mean, like when the wife was like, listen, I just learned quickly that the fantasies on TV are not what life is all about. And I didn't see him disagree with her one bit.
Right.
Because she was fantasizing on treating him one way, because, like, again, what, friends and TV and other stuff around her was showing her, even while he was being the breadwinner out, and again, giving her the time that she preferred. It wasn't. So all it was I learned that being cheated on there's a lot of signs. To some people, a lot of y'all, I know it's a deal breaker. However, this ain't to tell you how to run your relationship. I know y'all got standards and preferences and all that, and boundaries, but it's also a matter of try to learn. When you learn from being cheated on, it's like, you can take certain stuff away as far as, what they may like best. I mean, don't do it I would say don't do it for too long. But when you're cheated on, try to be like, just try to talk it out with your spouse. Give yourself, again, go to therapy, maybe have patience, give yourself some time, and don't be afraid to go back and be like, just tell me what it was. Because sometimes it's the smallest things in the world, like time. Like, you got some men, I ain't gonna lie, they'll come home from work. They may work 2 jobs. They'll come home. He's tired. He don't feel like doing anything but playing the game, Sam. That's all. Playing the game is.
You mean they wanted some me time, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like playing. His job stressed him out. Talking about it with his wife, he feels like he may take out some anger or frustration on her. He don't want to do that, so he hops on a game, and you know how we are with these technology games, man. We can.
Well, even it could be the gym. It might not be just a game. It could be the gym. It could be going to hang out, going to grab a drink with his friends, maybe just talk about the week or whatever. But it's all like you said. It's all about balance. If you do that every day, then that's gonna cause a problem. I don't care how nice your partner is. I don't care how respectful they are of you. If you're doing that every day, that's going to cause some friction.
The thing is, the man may not be letting it get to him every day. He may just have 1 bad day of a month, 2 bad days a week. Who knows how many times he has bad days where he feels he's about to shoot somebody. Who knows? But the wifey's is because he knows the way of letting his anger out, whether it's lifting weights, hanging with the fellas, doing whatever. If he said that he cheated because he found other things to do to get his mind off the anger, but there still were areas you weren't fulfilling. What I'm trying to tell the wifeys is that doesn't mean fall completely back or let completely go just because he wants to go out and do something else, like go to the gym, go shoot his gun, go play a game. Just because he's doing that does not mean he wants you to stop being a wife or stop being the other half of him. And then next thing you know, you don't let go of everything you used to do with him or for him. And then he'll go and sleep with somebody else. It's like, what was the lesson you learned from that? The lesson that to tell some of the story they were sharing with me was, I learned that one thing the wife, you said when I was talking to them, was I learned, that's the way she put it, I learned not to let completely go. She said, I learned to let go of some areas that I wasn't the best at. That's what she said. I learned, and I was like, what do you mean by that? She's like, well, I'm not the best person. He's a sports guy. I'm not. I learned to let him go talk to his friends about the sports stuff, but I learned to still be there for him, still have the dinner ready, still be there for him as a wife. But don't just stop being a wife. Like, that doesn't mean don't cook dinner. That's not what that means to them. And she's kind of right. She's pretty much right. Stop doing all you should do for him. It's just you're not the lady wifeys. You may not be the superwoman in all areas of his life. It's okay. It's okay. That doesn't mean stop being his backbone for him, though. That's what she was telling me. And then I was like, I even asked her, like, well, what did you guys do? What'd you do? And what'd you do when you guys were cheating? When stepped away. That's why I didn't say cheat. I said when I stepped out. And they just like, We learned from it. So we their therapy, they told me, was their pastor. They didn't go to a
Okay.
counselor. They went to their pastor, which is, I mean, that's what worked for you. Then hey, that's what works for you. That was their counseling. That was their coaching. That was their therapist. So it was like, all right, I'm like still, but each one, the part that I like, they say it only happened one time for each of them. And I was like, well, that's good marriage though.
So each time they forgave each other.
Yeah, there you go. They do. They're both Christians. I'm not saying that you have to be that to live a marriage like that. But my thing is, be able, if your spouse cheats on you, just know there's always a lesson that can be learned on both ends too, not just one of them. Like how they say, Sam, people always think the grass is green on the other side. It's not just the grass is green. Sometimes it's, hey, they just the husband may not always have the answers that she needs to hear, or the way she needs to hear him. Or I mean, there's always some little gap, some little hole that the spouse cannot always fulfill as fast or as much as he or she thinks they can. And it was like listening to them, they were on point. I could tell, man, that especially the husband, he was like, it was one and done, and he hasn't looked back of hasn't crossed his mind since. And I was like, all right, but one thing I learned though is that this generation, the modern day relationships and marriages, a lot of them are once you cheat, once you cheat, it's over. And it's like, all right, that's not for better or for worse. It really isn't. I mean, it is hard. It is, devastating. It's like you gave this man, this woman, your heart, your soul. Not you done gave them your all, and they're gonna cheat on you.
I mean, there's no, sometimes there's one person to blame. Sometimes there's multiple parties that can be blamed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a lot more complicated than just a simple, oh, this person's at fault. Now, sometimes it is that. Sometimes it is just that. But I think each party plays a role, and sometimes people forget that each party plays a role.
Yeah.
In that entire process, But who do you, moving on to the second part of that topic?
Yeah.
Who's cheating more and why, men or women?
Oh. That is, I haven't done all the research on that. I think it's about 50-50 on that, man. I just think women may do it in a different way, and men may do it without. They don't do it they don't do it the way as far as leaving no evidence. They do it a bit more. How can I say? A bit more in the eye of the public than they think.
You think men? Well, because we can never put a true number to it because you'd have to do a statistical study on it. And
I haven't done those.
You have to get true answers from people. But do you think men or women? I guess, okay, in your thoughts and opinions based on who you've spoken to and evidence and things like that and who we've interacted with, who do we think is sloppier with it or gets caught more? I guess that's a better question. Based on, because there's probably some studies out there, but just based on interviews we've done and people we've talked to, who do you think gets caught more?
Who gets caught more? The men do get caught more. Because just from speaking to them, I can be perfectly honest. I've never cheated on any woman I've been committed to because it's a sign of. I mean, Sam, you see me. Everyone else, y'all be asking me in the public, well, why are you single for this long? Because once a woman comes along, I give her the respect and value. Unlike the JJ brothers, they don't have as much respect for women like that. So it's like that's the first thing I'll give women is a lot more respect for who she is and the time that I've been. By myself, she'll get, I'll value her and only her. Because all right, there's no need for me, but it's for others, it's when men cheat, it's like they don't really care too much who sees what, because all they're focused on is being not really being taken care of, but not being ignored. They're more concerned. A man, if he's gonna cheat, he's more about having the fulfillment from areas that he needs help in. He may not ask, but he's like, look, if they see me, I don't care. Like, forget about him. because I need.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes men are a little bit more reckless. Sometimes I'm not saying every guy is, but I feel like that's doing that. But I feel like guys are a little bit more reckless versus females who usually most females are a little bit more calculated.
Use much evidence.
Yeah, and they're not trying to be, have people all in their business and posting on social media, whereas you see guys posting on social media, or leaving evidence behind, doing this, doing that, or they just very reckless, and women are more, and like they say, women are usually more emotional cheaters. And if they cheat physically, if a female cheats physically, and this is probably the majority. We're not saying it's 90%. We're not saying it's 70%. It may only be 55%
or less,
or less, right? But women, from a biological standpoint, are more emotional creatures than guys are. So usually, well, let's say more than 50% of the time when they cheat, it's usually an emotional connection to someone else. Yep. But there is a lot of females out there. We're not saying that women don't cheat just because it's physical. That does happen. But we're just saying for the majority of women, usually if they're cheating and it goes physical, that emotional factor played a role where they were not getting that emotional need, whether their love language was, quality time or intimacy or whatever, what's the other one, physical touch or whatever, those things weren't being met. So they seeked out someone who, or maybe they just met someone randomly that gave them that attention they needed, and they took that step. Whereas guys, on the other hand, like the young lady said in the video, most guys are physical creatures. Not all. We're not saying everyone, but most guys are physical creatures. And and so guys can, or I'm not going to say all guys, many guys could meet someone, maybe let's say they have a connection, be intimate, and never talk to that person for the rest of their life, and move on. Now, some guys can't do that, but many others can. And, some would say, okay, well, that's still cheating because they crossed the physical line. And some others would argue that, oh, well, that's just guys being guys with their true nature. Now, I'm not taking an opinion on that. I'm just saying, I'm just here saying what people say out there,
They do. And so, what? One movie, even though this is a movie, this ain't real, but there are some women who are like these characters. What was that movie that Tyler Perry did, man, where they were childhood friends and they got married, and then she cheated on him with some rich guy who had AIDS. I can't think of the name of that movie, but
shoot. Dang, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, there are women who are really like that. And it's because of the materialistic stuff. He was, I don't know if he was rich or what in the movie, but he had like a Rolls Royce. He had a big mansion. He had all this stuff, but he had AIDS. And then she slept with him and got the AIDS. And I think the husband was working with Brandy, who also had messed with the guy. And that's what he was known for, ruining marriages, ruining relationships, because he had all this, all this other stuff, all this materialistic stuff, to offer. And then the thing about a lot of men, if they do cheat, they won't always get emotionally attached. Well, some women, when they cheat, if she does do it physically, she will get physically, emotionally attached with that same person she's cheating on her husband with. But it still is like, all right, what is the lesson learned from that? If you said for better or for worse, and this is the worst going on, fellas, what did you learn? Ladies, wifeys, what did you learn from being cheated on? Because there is something to be learned. And what's the other movie? There's that movie, The Fences, with Denzel Washington, and I forgot the other woman's name, but she's a pretty good actress too. But the way she got cheated on, and then, Denzel, his character told her, hey, he messed around. There's the wife, not the wife, the baby mama is pregnant, and she's already passed away or whatever. And the wife even raised a child that wasn't hers, and she didn't leave him. But the worst, I think her action showed that she stopped loving him the same way. And that was,
I what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, that was strong to me because I heard the couple say, the way I heard them say it was, my love shifted for a while. Whatever the heck that. I even asked
They said the love shifted.
Their love shifted when they heard they got cheated. I was like, okay, that's the first thing that came to mind. Okay, how the heck is, oh, you mean, okay, I was like, I mean, some of the stuff they were saying I never heard before, but this is marriage, again, 46 years and counting, and that's older than that's longer than I've been born, and it's like, all right, and that movie Fences, a lot of y'all who've been cheated on, or if you care to go look at that movie, it's a little inspiration, but she didn't let being cheated on break her and her husband up until he passed away.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
the lesson to be, I mean, what lesson? I'm not saying there's situations like that, but I mean, what lesson is there on being cheated on? Again, after counseling, after therapy, whatever, talk to your spouse and see if there's anything you as a husband or you as a wife can better or improve on. Because I mean, it's not always pointing the finger. There's also that's what marriage is about, for better or for worse. And if there's ways that you can better or improve or grow, then I mean that's what you got married to him or her for, not just to be one way and that's it. I mean, because there's things, even in marriages, where the husband is a workaholic or the wife is a workaholic. They're a nurse in the day and they like to go do spontaneous things, like go to what's up there, go take a hot air balloon, go do what's it called? When you go sing, what is it, man? If I can take my tongue.
No, karaoke.
Karaoke, yeah. They may like to go do some things like that. They may like to go do other things, but here the man is tired and it's like, don't feel like it. I'm trying to just rest. But that's what the wifey likes to do. And all of a sudden, she cheats on you with the man she met at a karaoke event or rehearsal or whatever. So it's like you may not want to go, but I mean that's part of life. Is not always about you, even though husbands may be the workaholics in the family, working 2 or 3 jobs. And ladies, same thing. Is hey, your job as a nurse may stress you the hell out, and your man's only a truck driver. He ain't really got that much stress. He ain't got nobody watching him 24/7. He ain't got nobody talking a whole bunch of mess to him all day long. He listening to his iPod on traveling from Texas down to New York, back down to Georgia. So he don't have as much stress as you do. He does have a huge responsibility, man, because everything travels by truck. But I mean, you got to find ways. You're tired, okay. You may not want to go to the Panthers game with him. I mean, there's times you're gonna have to, like I say, sacrifice, surrender, submit, and before the success you're having as a spouse, as a married couple, continues. There's always one of those 4 S's, Sam. You gotta lie. They only think about that, man, from high school. But there's always like surrendering, suffering, submission, and sacrificing before success or during success. You're going to have to do as a husband, as a wife, if that's what you want to continue to succeed in. Because like I say, marriage is not easy. It's not.
It's definitely not easy. It's definitely I mean it's called a relationship for a reason, and it's called work, right? You can't come in and just plop on the couch and have a drink and watch TV every day and not talk to your wife, not help out, not do chores, not help with, if you have children, help with them doing stuff like this. It's definitely shared responsibility, because if you want to behave like that, then you're better off being by yourself, and on your own. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah, and it's like this couple though, man. I learned a lot from them in one day. I don't think we even talked for 45 minutes though. I mean, they didn't take a break. They were yap. I'm sitting there quiet like, okay. I had no pen and paper. I had my notepad and notes. I was taking some mental notes. Like everything I'm hearing them say is what I hear a lot of people say who have been married for at least 20 years or longer. And even when I used to do interviews way back when. So yeah, I mean, hopefully y'all get that spills a drop of info for y'all who are married or want to get married, because sometimes when you're just committed to this person, you've been committed to him or her for more than 2 years, and you want to marry this person and he or she cheats on you, it doesn't mean that he or she can't be your husband, your wife. It's just a sign of, okay, they've done this one time, they do it again. What have you learned from being cheated on? What was the lesson? And
right.
Just talk to them about it. And you may not, and my thing is, again, therapy, counseling, but don't try to marry the person. If you're not married to him or her yet, and you've been cheated on, don't try to marry them until you've seen like improvement or you've seen enough signs that you better things on your end and they've done the same thing, because that's when they say, well, once a cheater, always a cheater. For a lot of people, that is the situation, but not everybody.
Not everybody. Well, let's move on to the next topic here. We spent about 30 minutes on this, half the show.
Oh yeah,
Next, next little thing people wanted to talk about is love blind? Now they were talking. There's a show on Netflix called Love is Blind, and I've seen some of this reached the is this reached the a few contestants that have gotten married off of that or started relationships and has worked out, and others that have gotten married, etc., and then they've gotten divorced. So I want to get your thoughts on that. Is love blind? And then I will tell you what I feel. Or does blind love, can that type of scenario work out? If you were to meet someone and never see a picture of them, only talk to them, maybe go on blind dates where I don't know how they set that up on the show, but they have like dinners and eat and things like that. And they have it so dark that you can't see the other person, but you might be eating a meal. You may go to a movie theater and they have it like dark where you can't, or they put like a little partition between them. Right. Where they can hold hands. You know, you can touch the other person's legs, stuff like that. You might even be able to kiss them, but you can't see them. So it's right. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Not necessarily the show, but is love blind? Do you think a successful relationship can come out of getting to truly know someone without ever seeing them physically?
And the only reason I can say yes is because I've interviewed 4 people back when I was in college. I interviewed 4 people face to face that were blind. But the only thing was there was one couple where his wife was blind, but he was blind in one eye and then colored blind in the other. So he wasn't completely blind, but he could see a little bit better than her. Well, she couldn't see at all. And so I believe, yeah, there is. But let's say you're not blind. Let's just say you're not. I still believe, yeah, it can happen because when you really do think about it, love has no size, no color, no race, no sex, none of that. It has none of that. Love is love, and it's like when you want to love somebody for better or for worse, and you're communicating, it's more of the energy that you all share with the person than anything else. It's more the and energy doesn't have again a gender, a shape, size, or color, any of that. So it's is it blind? I'm like, yeah, just think about it. You close your eyes and what do you feel from this person? What do you feel? What do you get from this person? And what are you giving to the person? It's not everything has to be physically. Like ladies, okay, a lot of ladies who are materialistic. Take all the materialistic stuff away. Who do you have? Can you still love him for who he is? Yeah. Can you still, be there for him like he is for you? Yeah. I mean, take all of. I believe love is,
I think it can happen. I think in today's world, everybody is so impatient, and not everyone, but a lot of people are very impatient and egotistical and all about material things. And I mean, a lot of people are. I'm not saying it's the majority, but a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And so I think it is. I think a lot of people are that way, I should say. But I think blind love, man, that's a tough one. Do I think you can get to know someone, I mean, without seeing them? I think you can, right? I think you can fall in love with someone that you've never seen, because think about it. Think about how it was when we were like in middle school and high school, when we had to talk on the phone to somebody all the time. Mm-hmm. You're building that rapport, you're building that relationship with them, even though in those situations you actually see them in school or whatever, or outside of school. At the same time, you're still building like a relationship with that person. You're getting to know them on a level that is beyond, because in middle school, most of us weren't really physical like that. It was more like, if anything, you got a kiss or something if you were lucky.
A hug.
A hug or whatever. And you might have got to feel a little booty every now and then or whatever, or something like that. A kiss, if, at the very most. Yeah. But, you got to know a person as much as you could, then you go to high school and say, okay, yeah, you're getting to know somebody more. But think about it. If you were in a situation where, not necessarily a game show, but let's say you were in a situation where you got to spend a week literally, and you got to spend, let's say 4 to 5 to 6 hours a day getting to know someone, but you can never see their face. and you can never see their physical attributes.
Mm-hmm.
You can only see, you can only hear, you know.
Now, hold up, man. What if are they allowed to touch each other?
So I think okay, for that show, I think they're allowed to touch hands, and I think they can hold each other's wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'd have to actually look at the show. I think they can get physical.
Okay.
It means in terms of like kissing and stuff like that, but I don't think they can. I don't believe they can like have sex or anything like that or whatever. But I think they can touch each other in terms of, like you said, giving each other a hug. So I think they do know how their body composition is.
And I mean that question, man, because a lot of people, they'll just look at the physical being and be like, all right, you know, when they look at the physical being, because I got preferences, that's all that matters to him or her. And so I asked that question because if the physical things, the reason why, and when I hear that, like I got preferences that she has to have, you know, pretty feet, big butt, breast, or, you know, a beautiful smile, whatever the case is. When I hear it, I'm like, okay, dude, but what if that changes? And after a child or after, you know, life happens, if it changes, that's still, you know, is he going to stay married to her? That's why I do. And some men will.
Exactly.
And that's why I believe that, you know, blind love is out there for a lot of us. I mean, and I ain't gonna lie, there's some women the same way, you know.
We should almost hold an event like that in the city some kind of way. Somehow we have to hold an event like that where you can hear the other person. It's almost like you set up these little booths where you can hear the other person. You can touch their hand. You can see their hands and touch their hands. That's it. Mm-hmm. And just to see as a test, you know, how many of these people would go on a second date or a third date. You know what I mean?
Sam, let's do it, man, because I done held 2 events about relationship resumes, man, and they turned out great.
I remember.
Only one couple that I hear that I call him back and be like, you know, he was engaged to the girl. I don't know where they're at now because I haven't spoke with him since. Last time I called his phone was disconnected, so I don't know where they're at now. But it was like, yeah, that kind of stuff, man. Hey, let's do it, man. It's out here. It's, you know, it's a little bit something new. I mean, it's not really new, but the show's been doing it, but we can always add some, you know, some things too to make it interesting. And I mean, hey, who knows?
I definitely agree there.
But love is out here, man. This for a lot of y'all who are wondering, man, you know, why you can't find the love is like, hey, one thing I'm always telling folks, stop looking so hard for it.
There you go. Just enjoy life and have fun, you know?
That's when you're going to run across it because, like, and I said in my line, because when you met wifey, you weren't looking, you trying to work, right?
Yeah, man, wasn't looking. You know, I was having fun doing my thing and enjoying life, enjoying the bachelor life. And, you know, I was single dad and definitely wasn't, you know, I had to stop looking because when I was looking, it was almost too forced. And I found myself getting a little too anxious and what's the right word? Kind of overexcited sometimes, you know, in certain situations, especially one situation. I was like, what the hell am I doing? This is not who I am. Anybody that knows me knows that's not me.
Yeah.
So then I had to give myself a reality check. But that situation gave me a reality check, and I was like, all right, let me just take a step back, observe this from the outside as if I was a third party. And was like, okay, let me take a step back for a minute.
I'm gonna tell you, man, I live life to the fullest, like it's the last day. And when you do that, it takes your mind off of almost everything else, man.
There you go.
Sometimes even the kids, or you know, whatever the case is. I mean, you're still a parent or whatever. But when you just focus on seizing the moment and living every day to the fullest, it's not gonna. And you're not even looking. Like me, I don't go out looking. I go out to have fun. I go out to enjoy life. And when it's time to settle down, I can always look back and say, hey, I had my fun. What do you need us to do now?
There you go. Well, hey, let's. We got about 20 minutes. I wanted to jump into a few more topics here while we're at it. It's going through the grapevine that I guess a few days ago that Jeezy filed for divorce from his wife of 2 years, Jeannie. I know she's on one of those daytime shows, or was on one of those daytime shows.
Okay.
And there was some evidence coming out about her saying something negative about black men or something like that. But it looks like I'm gonna read the actual details of it so I can share it with everyone. But it says that, you know, they've been together 2 years. Oh, The Real. That was the name of the show, The Real.
Okay.
They got married a few years ago. Jeezy's, I think she's 45 now. But it said in the divorce, it said that they were not on the same page when it came to certain family values and expectations. They had different views, and each of them felt like their needs were not being completely met, according to the court documents and sources that have gone public, I should say, as of today. So people jump on that. We like to talk about at least one celebrity news, stuff that's in the news, just because maybe Bruce and I don't really relate to it, but a lot of people do relate to it. We want to bring it up, but what do you think about that when it comes? And let me add to this.
What?
The documents stated that they've been separated for a while, and that their marriage is irrevocably broken. There is no hope for reconciliation. Jeezy has filed for legal custody of their daughter. And there was there was a prenup signed agreement before they got married. So there's no details of what's in that because they're usually sealed. But there was a prenup that was signed. So don't know what that prenup is, but usually it's not good for one party, completely good for one party. So what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that, my feelings on that, man, is still, if they say there's no going back, there's like, hey, then my thing is find what works for y'all, man. And in situations like that, again, there's still some lessons to be learned, even though you can't go back from it. Don't just think about, even though that they sound like they're gonna go for the divorce, still go to therapy, still get some counseling, because don't forget, you have a daughter. So it's not just about you guys now, but it's all, you don't want the daughter to be drugged through any hell while you're trying to deal with, your situation as a husband, as a parent, as a mom, as a dad, as a human being, and just, whatever after therapy, after, counseling, whatever the case is, still, man, try to, keep your head above water. Don't try to take it out on yourself or those around you. It's I haven't even seen her or what she said about the black people. I hope you.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of that specific comment played a role in all of this, but I do know that at least from what we've seen in public, the documents that we've seen, things were said, and people can't take those things back. So we have to be very careful what we we're saying. It was a comment she made a few years ago on a show. So I won't harp on that. A lot of people have issues that we don't know about what goes on behind closed doors. But I will say that, people should give them the respect and privacy they deserve. Because like Bruce just said, they have a young child. I think she's only like 2 or 3.
2 or 3, man.
So yeah, she's pretty young. But hey, if you feel like you've reached that point, and we don't know that they haven't gone to therapy, right? They said they've been separated, so we don't know that they haven't gone and tried to, work on some things and talk about some things. And so, based on the divorce papers, they're saying that these things cannot be addressed or fixed, and so that's why they're deciding to go ahead and pursue a divorce, because they feel that they cannot be resolved.
Okay, I mean, yeah, put some out there. You can't take it back. All you can do is make up for it, but still, there's no limit to how much making up you may have to do because you know how it may touch somebody, and do some and hurt somebody like that. But at the same time, man, they're not they're celebrities, but they're not line celebrities like a Michael Jordan or anyone like that, or like a Chris Brown kind of character. I mean, they kind of are in that category, but at the same time, I would also say go talk to your friends who have been in situations like that. I've been in situations, who can relate to you. But whatever you do when you're in those situations, don't try to be around those who are not trying to better you. Just like, oh, forget her, oh, forget him, and they're trying to like push the person, or they're trying to downplay the person that you're with, or that you were married to. And I say downplaying was like, okay.
You mean like negativity from like friends, etc.
No,
So-called friends.
negativity. It's like, try to be around those who are positive. It's all right, man. It's all right, man. You still can make it. You were making it before them, and you still can make it now. But try to be around people who can uplift you, not negativity. Negativity is one of the worst things to be around, even going through situations, going through divorce, going through separation. I mean,
right.
But definitely, it's even people in their situations like that. When you got a child, just be like, all right, well, this is it for me and him, or him and I, or her and I. So it's all about the child now, or the children. But there's more than one child involved. You know what I mean? And there's plenty of times like that has happened in life. But you're always going to be around positive energy who can relate, uplift you, or be there for you as as you need one to be.
Yeah, because stuff happens. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reality. That's life.
It's
Things
life.
happen. You got to learn from it. Try to move on and become a better person, and go from there. Because the like Bruce said, the last couple he interviewed and found himself in an interview with, they were involved and they cheated on each other several times.
Mm-hmm.
On both sides, but they still are married after 46 years. And now I do agree that the generation, the before us and before that one, it's different type of lifestyle, different type of things going on where they didn't have access. Because think about it, I mean, just from our perspective,
yeah,
social media was a game changer. Smartphones, all that stuff was a game changer. We didn't have any of that stuff growing up. We didn't have those things. They weren't even around until we were grown, essentially. And I can only imagine having those types of things in elementary, middle school, high school. So it's almost like your entire life, if you post a lot and you share things, your entire life is on social media. So if you make a mistake and say the wrong thing, like some people have said things on, and posted those on social media, guess what? Anybody can see that and access it. If you post, what are they call it? Like revenge porn, right? Like somebody's dating somebody and you send them a picture of your body or something like that, which I urge all young people, parents, talk to your young people about that when they're in middle school. Mm-hmm. Tell them never to do that. Never take pictures and share with anybody, because once it's on your phone and once you post it anywhere, it's never really gone. Somebody can find it, and if they send it to somebody, usually people save it and they share it, and guess what? That stuff's online. But these are things that we didn't have to worry about. We didn't have to worry about these types of things. But people now, they have to worry about, all these types of things going on, and that added pressure, right? Because like you said, that's what it was. Maybe we'll talk about this a little bit next week, but here it is for everybody. Here's the soundbite. Somebody said, I heard the other day, a woman said this yesterday, actually. She said she said that she thinks it's harder for guys in relationships these days because a female can post a bikini. We're not even talking about nude. We're not talking about OnlyFans and all that stuff. We're just talking about a bikini. A female can post a bikini picture on social media, and the attention she gets or receives in terms of likes, comments, people saving the photos, sharing it with other people. There's not a single thing a guy could ever post that will get the same attention that this woman just got. Now, maybe that guy posts something and he gets more likes, but females aren't sending him messages like that in the volume that guys send females messages in their DMs, following them, maybe stalking them and doing all this other stuff. So I thought that was very intriguing. I had to sit and think about it for a second. I said, hold up, let me think about it. I said, okay, if I'm dating a female or you're married or whatever, and she posts a bikini photo, would I get the same amount of attention if I post a photo with my shirt off? And the answer is no.
Yep. And it's different though. I mean, and there's a lot of ladies out here who do that. They're on Instagram, they're on TikTok, they're on social media, YouTube, wherever, and they just they'll walk around in bikinis. And I mean, what's crazy is I don't think I've hit like one time on any of them. I just see it and it's like, hey, okay, nice shape, okay, pretty flexible, okay, nice body shape, and I just be like, all right. Just browse through it. Sometimes I read the comments, man, and I'll be like, damn, these folks here is crazy. But
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, at the end of the day, people don't realize that these people are getting paid off of the likes and subscribers, right? So if they have a certain amount of subscribers, then they can get advertising deals, and companies want to advertise. They get those paid. You ever see those paid sponsorships or paid advertisement on social media?
Yeah.
Those people have those because they have so many followers. Now they're getting paid to push a product or something like that. Or if you get a certain amount of like YouTube's a little different, right? You get amount of subscribers, people see, you start getting paid per 10,000 views, you know? So people do these things to make money. And as at the end of the day, a lot of this, some of it is attention seeking, but a lot of it has turned into a way for people to make money outside of a 9-to-5 job. A lot of these people don't work 9-to-5. This is their 9-to-5 job, you know?
That's their career.
This is their career. It may be non-traditional, but what they're saying is, I mean, I know of a young female, I won't say young, she's probably late 20s, early 30s, that has made over $20 million just on like all her platforms or whatever, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, OnlyFans, all this other stuff or whatever, you know. So she's made more money than both of us have made, and all she's doing is posting content, posting her body, doing stuff. And some would say, "Hey, well, that's wrong of her to do that or whatever." But at the end of the day, that's her morals. Yeah, she has her own set of morals. You know, that's what she's doing. Hey, I don't have nothing against that. Do what you feel you need to do.
Huh?
I say, yeah, you do what you feel you need to do. You know.
No, I'm not. Is she married or committed?
I think she does have a boyfriend. I think I saw, but I don't know that she was in a relationship that entire time. You know what I'm saying? She's probably met somebody since then. From what I understand, from what I've seen. But like you say, I don't go on there liking these people's photos because I feel like, you know, it gives them, you know, I just feel there's no need. You know, a lot of times, this is why I don't go on social media a lot anyway, outside of what we do, because I feel like a lot of it's just garbage anyway. It's all clickbait. Clickbait meaning people just post stuff just for clicks, right?
Yeah.
You know, some of it's funny. I like to look at the funny stuff. I like to look at the funny stuff. Or
yeah, and you know what? That's gonna be our next show, Sam. That's what I'm gonna go ahead and share with y'all. If the lady's the breadwinner before she meets her husband, what do you do? That's gonna be my next topic right there in itself. That's been the question I've gotten maybe 3 or 4 times this past 4 months. I've probably gotten that question. So and since you just brought that up, because there are some women who got it like that before they meet their man and before they marry their husband. She's a breadwinner. She makes more than he does.
Well, maybe we need to talk about that next week too. Is if a woman made her money in a way that, like, showing off her body, let's say, has made her money showing off her body, like the former first lady, 45's his nude model. So she made money off of her body. Does that change the way you look at her if you find that out when dating? So that's a question for next week.
Yep, there you go.
But let's end the show with something really funny and hilarious. And, I mean, it's around relationships, but it's also a little bit of politics in there as well. Just recently, what's her name? Queen MAGA herself, Lauren Boebert, I think she's a congresswoman from Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. She just recently was caught in a movie theater. A dude, I guess because she's separated, I think. She's not divorced, but she is separated, so she can do what she wants to do legally. She was in the movie theater, and she got kicked out of a movie theater, and people said she lied and said she got kicked out of the movie theater because some people were being loud, or she was being loud. She didn't like the movie, blah, blah, blah. Come to find out, so the movie theater released video, because in movie theaters, people don't realize this. In movie theaters, they have X-ray cameras, night vision cameras. So they can see what you're doing in the movie theater. Just a note for all you people up there listening. So this dude and her, they were kind of loud anyway, but then you can see the dude like groping her, top half of the body and lower half of the body. And then you can see her groping him, lower half of the body. Now, this is a sitting congresswoman in public doing this. You know, it's Yeah, have we all done this stuff at some point in our lives? Of course, but yeah, we're not elected officials and Congress people that our faces are on TV all the time. And so, of course, when she lied, then the movie theater released the video, and you can see all this happening.
Oh Lord.
So the forget all the politics aside, because we know that she's a MAGA Republican, so they talk out of the side of their mouth saying that about morals and all the rest of this crap, and then they do whatever the hell they want to do behind the scenes. They're hypocrites. But forget all the politics side. If you were I'm trying to think what's the right question. If you were the husband that is now separated from this person, and then this comes out that she's doing this in public, or okay, no, let me go with my original question. That's the husband. Would you file for full custody of your kids knowing your soon-to-be ex-wife is out here doing this stuff in public, and she's a congresswoman, so clearly she doesn't give a shit. And now your kids, and also what is the backlash that the kids have to deal with now that their mom is on TV and social media everywhere getting groped by somebody that's not their dad? Because their kids, I think their oldest is maybe a teenager, but then I think they have like 4 or 5 kids. It's like teenager, looks like one's like 12 or 13. Then it's like other ones that are young, like 10, 8. You know what I'm saying? So what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, my thoughts on that is it goes like you said earlier, man. There's a lot to a marriage, and it ain't easy. And there's a lot to being a parent as well, man, because you got to look at stuff like that, not just for yourself, because this is a family. You got to look at it from a whole family point of view now, man. That kind of stuff there is like, if I was a husband, I probably would, yeah, because file for custody for all the kids they have, because that's a lot for the kids to, even if they're in private school, you got to think about it. The kids have to go out in the public and be talked about, teased, and maybe even, and that's going to be used against them for who knows how long. I mean, some of that stuff I wouldn't worry too much about though, because I mean, people don't forget what Pastor Wilson did to old girl in
Uh-oh.
the congregation.
Uh-oh.
So I mean, some things just go over people's head. Some folks have completely forgot what Pastor Wilson did with old girl there, I mean, this right here, she is in Congress, but she's a little more popular than Pastor Wilson was, for that mess he did. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's in situations like that. That is, like I said, that's lacking that self-control, self-discipline, self-respect. I'm always talking about right there.
Yeah,
I would do
because I mean, it's okay to have fun and do all that stuff and yada yada yada. But like you say, even if that was your spouse, as a person that's in the media, whether you be on TV, whether you be a professional athlete, whether you're a movie star, a politician, if you're in the media at some level, you have to know that somebody's usually recording you or taking photos of you all the time. And I mean, it's just wild. It's just a lack of judgment, big lack of judgment right there.
You can't even scratch your head. You can't even try to scratch your nose, man. Because it's gonna be on public. Next thing you know, they're gonna turn the camera completely around and think you picking. Like all you do is like,
wait a minute. I mean, it's true. No, it's so true. It happens all the time.
You can't do anything in public now. You ain't got no privacy in public.
It happens all the time, man. So yeah, I just thought that was hilarious and in multiple ways. But I do feel that her kids may, like you said, may get teased in school, may endure some bullying, they may have to change schools. That's a lot. There's gonna be a lot of fallout for her family, for especially the kids that comes out of that. Especially like imagine like who was it? A porn star that came out. She's not a porn star anymore, a former porn star, I guess I should say. And she got married, they had kids, yada yada yada. And then when their kids got of school age, when they went to school, people were like showing them videos of their mom, and people talking about it and stuff like that. So this is, even though that's the mom's past, that was 10 plus years ago, it's still being brought up because your past, even though you have a past, your past was in public and on video. Yep. Versus let's say you or I, the shit's not on video. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got a pass, but your pass is on video and for everyone to see, so it's a little different.
Yeah, I mean it's different, man, when you have a career being on camera and then you're
Get it up for you guys. We'll get that up for you guys on about 24 hours usually. Give us about that amount of time. You can always view the video on Facebook, but we like to put it on YouTube and try to edit some clips and put those on TikTok as well. So be safe out here. It looks like we're getting a little bit of not quite summer heat. I won't call it fall. It's like that in between, right? Where it's still like 85-ish, maybe 90 some days, but it's not 95 plus, and it's getting cooler at nighttime, right?
Well, not chilly in the morning, and then warms up there.
There you go. I like it. So we're starting to get some fall-like weather, but get outside, guys. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy life. Go to some festivals. Go to some events. If you're single and you want to find somebody, hey, like Bruce and I always say, just be yourself. Go out there and go out in public events. Go to things. Just go out there and be yourself. You never know, man. It could be the museum, and then somebody walks up beside you and you strike up a conversation. You never know what could happen.